Telecoms Minister Darrell Vaz as he rejected the Auditor General's report stating that he breached procurement rules when Starlink devices were bought after Hurricane Melissa.
Mr. Vaz also labeled some of the Auditor General's findings as uninformed and grossly inaccurate.
Now, the parliamentary opposition has, however, raised serious concerns and called for full disclosure.
Here's Andrea Chisholm with the details.
Telecommunications Minister Darrell Vaz.
I make no apology whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I go further. In circumstances such as these, if I had to do it again, I would do it again.
The reference is to the Auditor General's report, which showed that the minister breached Section 20 of the Public Procurement Act when he initiated the purchase of 200 Starlink devices for roughly $12 million. The Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management (ODPEM) was later told to pay for them. Vaz initiated the purchase of the Starlink devices as co-chair of the Relief and Recovery Oversight Committee to address recovery efforts due to Hurricane Melissa. But the Auditor General pointed out that only the accountable officer or head of entity is legally empowered to initiate the procurement, and there is no provision in law for the minister to select suppliers or give directives to ODPEM for payments. Additionally, the Starlink devices were delivered to the Office of the Police Commissioner on November 14, 2025. Formal approval was not granted by the Director General of ODPEM until November 20. But for Mr. Vaz, he did not breach procurement rules, and he described some of the Auditor General's findings as uninformed and grossly inaccurate. He said his actions were in keeping with the guidance note on the acquisition of goods and services during an emergency, which was issued by the Office of Public Procurement Policy. Vaz said that he acted quickly to ensure people were connected after Hurricane Melissa, and the requirements for employing emergency procurement procedures were satisfied. In the meantime, the opposition PNP says the matter underscores growing questions about transparency, accountability, and the management of public resources.
I wish to point out further that the issue is complicated by the minister's own public statements. On November 1, 2025, Minister Vaz announced that Jamaica had received 700 Starlink units as a donation in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, presenting the devices as emergency support for national connectivity. Jamaicans are entitled to clear and consistent answers. If 700 Starlink units were declared as a donation, the public must now be told why a subsequent purchase has been made and now been flagged by the Auditor General.
In response to the opposition statement, I simply say to Philip Paulwell, the leader of the opposition, all members of parliament in the affected areas, both opposition and government, plus mayors and councillors on both sides were recipients of Starlink to allow them to be able to better communicate with the responding agencies and their constituents. So I'm not quite sure what they are complaining about.
Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.